I think that there needs to be an honest conversation about what the kinkiest hair type looks like in its untampered state. I think only when people are accepting of the kinkiest hair type in its untampered state can we actually have a serious discussion around texturism. But I think there's a deception because people are making it seem like if I just use this one product, I would wake up and I would have 3C hair. And girl, it's not true.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can.
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's world. Hi y'all, welcome to Mayowa's world. I want to make this video as quick as possible. I want to talk about the fall of the natural hair community. A lot of people have been speaking about this, but I want to talk about what I think is next and what factors contributed to where we are now. So if you watched my past videos, you would have seen a video I made about Mielle product. So for those who haven't seen the video, there was a lot of outrage about Mielle Cosmetics and how there were a lot of white girls buying the products in bulk. A lot of black people were struggling to get the products. Towards the end of the video, I said what I thought my predictions were, which was that I believe that this was all alleged, that Mielle was paying a lot of these white influencers to speak on the products so that it could breach into mainstream. And in the video, I was talking about how a lot of people gaslight black women and about their fear of the product changing ownership or changing ingredients, changing what they use. Also, I feel like people were oversimplifying this problem and making it seem like black women were just so upset that they have to share products instead of the actual fear that these black-owned businesses can sell out to white conglomerates and change the ingredients that they're using. And so 2 days ago, it came out that Mielle has been acquired by Procter & Gamble P&G, so they've sold to P&G. So no longer solely black-owned. And I think what's really interesting was like, ooh, the lighting is giving. And what I think is really interesting was like, even in my video where I think I really thoroughly explained that we're living under a capitalistic system. So when you have capitalism, people are forced to make decisions that can to some be unethical. So there is like not a single thing that I've ever seen that's for black people that has maintained being for black people. Nothing is sacred under capitalism, under white supremacy. Like, if they're hitting up white girls to do the brands, like, I feel like they knew that black women would be upset, right? Because we are the biggest ones showing outrage and showing anger. And I feel like they know that that's gonna increase the sell. And y'all, I think I was right. I really now believe that they were trying to, my theory, allegedly, I believe that they were using a lot of white influencers to pivot into mainstream. And I do think that now that was a marketing scheme. And like I said in the last video, I believe that they were using black outrage to sell, essentially. And I think that they knew it was going to work. A symptom of what's going on in the natural hair movement, a symptom of what I can tell people are feeling is they're feeling exhausted, right? Because even in me making a video where I said, y'all need to stop gaslighting black women about their outrage about this, everyone wants to quickly say, oh, well, it's business is business. You know, you gotta sell, you gotta make money. Just because it's business doesn't mean that people can't grieve. People can't be sad and people can't be emotional about things that are going on. People want to make it seem like, oh, you can't think with your emotional brain, you gotta think with your logical brain. Baby, you're half and half. Every time you're thinking you're making logical decisions, it's also still pushed by emotion. I don't know what this weird separation of feelings is, but black women being sad about feeling betrayed. Essentially, Procter & Gamble was the same company that bought over Shea Moisture. It's the same company that bought over Carol's daughter. Okay, so Procter & Gamble has historically been buying out black hair companies, and those two other companies changed the formula. So that was really gaslighting when you were trying to make it seem like black women were just getting mad out of nowhere. And this is proof, right? Because I don't know where things are going. I don't know what they're going to change the formulas of, but I'm not going to be surprised if they do change the formula. I'm not. So I pointed out things that I feel like in the natural hair movement have led to this kind of exhaustion that people feel. I've made a couple videos ago about how there's been a rise in perming your hair again, perm culture, which is kind of wild because there's so much stuff going on in the media about lawsuits being brought up. I saw that Dark and Lovely is facing a lawsuit about uterine cancer. But even with all these facts coming into play, even with people knowing that these things are literally dangerous for you, people are still choosing to do it anyway because of assimilation, because of also I feel like in part the failure of the black hair community to support really everyone in that said community. I also think another thing that's contributed is like the rise of wig culture and wigs being super accessible, wigs being very cheap, wigs being what you see as the norm of just like you can have your natural hair and put a wig on top. I feel like wig culture is also driven by texturism, because if people who actually have 4C hair felt comfortable to leave their hair out, a lot of them wouldn't feel the need to have to put on something on top to hide their natural hair. I'm not saying everybody who wears wigs has that, but I think a portion of people who wear wigs also know that their natural hair would not be considered acceptable and would be made fun of. So then something that's kind of off topic, but there's this guy on TikTok and he makes jokes about how kinky his hair texture is. And people are in the comments always laughing at him, laughing. And I'm like looking at his hair texture and I'm like, that's like literally the same texture as my hair.
Hombre, ya yo te dije que si se peina, espera. Ay, es que tú tienes ese pelo como una cuca. Mira, yo me voy. Chao.
So people are like making fun of his hair for being very kinky and calling it nappy. That's my hair texture. So what do you think about other people who have that hair texture, who have that length? Why would you want to wear your hair out when people see it as dry, dry, tangled, and undesirable? So there's a push in wig culture, which brings me to my third point, which is, also you can see what happened with Mielle, with Shea Moisture. A lot of Black people, they get these hair products hoping that these one product will be able to help their hair and change their hair texture, because a lot of marketing has been lies, right? Like, and we've seen that with even the perm box girls, if you've seen my video, but a lot of the people who were on the boxes of perms who had that silky long hair naturally just had hair that was like that, or their hair was not permed, their hair was not even using the products. I think there's a deception. I think that deception was at the heart in a lot of ways of the natural hair movement. It wasn't until my hair got long that the comments of how people treated me changed. When I had my hair shorter, people would literally always try and tell me, unsolicited, what I need to be doing different because my hair is kinky, my hair is nappy. They'll be giving me unsolicited advice. And I know a lot of other people with 4C hair that's short are also getting unsolicited advice, also getting made fun of for having their hair in their natural state. So there's a deception that when you buy products, it will change it. I'm not gonna lie to you, back in the early 2000s, like 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I was buying $40 bottles of Carol's Daughter, so expensive, thinking that it's going to change my hair type. Also, there's a lack of knowledge of different hair types. And I kind of want to make a video explaining the different hair types and explaining the different styles. If you're interested in me talking into detail about different hair types, let me know. But I think there's a deception because people are making it seem like if I just use this one product, I would wake up and I would have 3C hair. And girl, it's not true. And a lot of these products, like so many people also had hair damage by overusing products that was affecting that was giving you buildup. So it was actually doing more damage to use more and more products. And I think that the black people's relationship to products is really intimate because we know that our hair is how we are. We know that our hair is politicized. So if our relationship to products is intimate, then when it's severed and when brands buy it up, it's going to definitely affect and hurt a lot of Black people because it's affected to our identities. So I also feel like linking products to your identity is another downfall that the natural hair community came with because there was always products being pushed at the forefront. There's also too been a rise in getting your hair done, so there's also been a rise in expensive protective stylings as well, like hairstylists charging loads of money, a lot of influencer hairstylists, doing really treating some of their clients really strange, exploiting them, making fun of their hair on camera, all of these things that really wasn't around 10 years ago. These things have all blown up. And I think that people feel fatigue. I think there's a natural hair fatigueness, and it is caused from texturism, deception, and lies that if you just do something different, that kinky nappy hair of yours will not look the same. And that was false. So I'm gonna talk about what I think needs to happen and what pivots need to change after this fallen hair movement, because I think that people are going to continue to get more and more exhausted. I think that there needs to be an honest conversation about what 4C, what the kinkiest hair type looks like in its untampered state. I think only when people are accepting of the kinkiest hair type in its untampered state can we actually have a serious discussion around texturism and how it's deeply ingrained into our identities to hate and have vitriol for people who are kinky headed. So, and it's sad because the natural hair movement originally started from the foundations of trying to remove us from products, from white products, and making our own stuff. Like, that was really the foundation. Like, I remember in 2011, 2012, making my own deep conditioner. I remember like that excitement of making things and trying out things. And I think that's something that within the lock community, we've maybe learned a little bit better than people who have their loose curls out, because we kind of have realized like there's definitely an agenda within locks to make it seem like you gotta have a retwist every 2 weeks. You gotta have your edges slick to the back. You gotta see all scalp. There's definitely like that. There's definitely that marketing within it. But I think a lot of people who have locks know that each person's lock is kind of individualistic, and how they care for it, how often they wash it, what they use, is really depending on the person. Like, I've heard things that I'm just like, wow, that really works on your hair. You know, that I feel like we have that. But I feel like in the loose hair community, or people who have their hair out, not locked, they're kind of struggling with their relationship to products, and just like not, and just knowing who to turn to. My fear right now is I feel like things are shifting more right. I kind of have, you know, started to think to myself, like, these companies, I wouldn't be surprised if more Black owned companies are selling to big conglomerates, white companies, because of the ease, because of capitalism, because this system is like created to essentially have us kind of sell out. But I wouldn't be surprised if that also happens more moving forward. But there has to be something to bring back a sense of community, to bring back people exploring and trying out things without experiencing shame online and in real life. Like, I think the natural hair community has to kind of move from online to in real life, if possible, to have discussions in real life, and just like also learn to listen without wanting to give feedback, especially if you are someone who has a looser hair texture and you hear someone with a kinkier hair texture talking and you want to give advice, like, maybe just don't do it. Maybe just don't do it. Maybe just listen to them talk about their grievances without trying to be solution oriented. Because at the foundation of the natural hair movement, the truth is that our hair with no products is enough. I always like reference my ancestors because that's really much who I give everything to, and it's a part of my own spiritual practices. But I know for a fact my great grandmother wasn't fucking lining up at Target dying to get the Mielle rosemary oil. I know that she wasn't feeling shame about using 16 different hair products in her hair to get her hair to look manageable. Or like my great, like, I know they were making things. Like, I think that's inherently, you know, Black. And also about scouting out things that maybe are more locally owned instead of things that can potentially become conglomerates or supporting conglomerates. But I don't know. I'm interested to know what pivot you think the natural hair community should make, because at this point I'm really flabbergasted with all the news, and just like, I do think that there's like I think there's like, I don't know, like different waves of natural hair movement. I want to say this is like the third wave. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm just guessing numbers. But this wave is definitely coming to an end, and I think something is going to pop up. But I really pray that whatever pops up, 4C untampered hair will be at the center, because it has to be. We can't keep doing this. We are leaving people behind, and that is why people are frustrated, because they have been left behind and they have been lied to. And I don't know. That's why personally, like, when I talk about hair stuff, I really try my hardest to like not push products, because I remember, I just know how exhausting that was to be told products will solve things. And I know it doesn't. A lot of times when you have long hair or thick hair, it literally just comes down to genetics. And people don't want to admit that because they want to make a buck. They want to make a buck. But I'm just being real with you. So yeah, if you want to hear me talk about the different typing of hair, the different textures in hair that I notice, I'm not a licensed hair person. I just know how to do hair. I know a lot about hair, but I'm not a professional, but I can just give you my own thoughts. Let me know. And if you got to the end and you like, you know, I feel like blue looks so good on me. I'm a water baby. I love aqua. This makeup was actually inspired by one of my friends called T1. She had done something similar in a TikTok. I'll tag her, a picture of her and like her because she also has kinky 4C hair, very beautiful. But yeah, if you like the makeup look and the butterfly and the blue, let me know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.